Good evening, everyone. It is Alexander Dezan here. I'm with Securia Sunshine, who's in the background. She's going to be doing all the technology, all the tech work tonight. And we have a very, very, very special guest for all of you tonight. And we're so happy to have him here. His name is Chuck. He's just like the email said, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a business owner, a very successful business owner, I might add. And the reason we brought him on tonight is because we want you to know that you're not the only person going through a tough time during a breakup, heartbreak, or divorce. What you're experiencing on the emotional side, what you're experiencing in the feelings, whether it's anger, shame, hurt, guilt, worthlessness, no matter what you're feeling, just know that those feelings, they come up, but you don't have to run away from them, or you don't have to suppress them. Actually acknowledging that they're there and embracing them will help you to heal where you're at. And the reason we brought Chuck on tonight is because Chuck has been going through our program and doing a lot of work. And the person he was before coming into our program versus the person he is today is night and day. And I'm so thankful and so appreciative that he's given us some time, that he can come answer questions. But it's not about us. It's about you who's out there. Because you're watching this, you're going through a lot. Your heart is feeling pain. You're not feeling good about who you are. And what we do is we help people, men just like you, to break free and release the past pain of that breakup and to step into the future that you really want, that you truly desire, that's right at your fingertips. And it's not just us saying that, it's real. And again, that's why we brought Chuck on today. So Chuck, thank you for joining us. Very, very exciting. Chuck is joining us from where? Just outside Chicago.
I'm in Lafayette, Indiana.
Lafayette, Indiana.
So give a shout out to the Boilermakers here.
And you just saw a game on Thursday, right?
Yes, we did. They opened up against Penn State. It was fun. Good time.
Did they win?
They did not.
Oh, okay.
But it was a packed Ross-Ade Stadium. I've never seen so many students in one stadium in my life at Purdue. It was a wild, fun evening that I brought my son. It was a fun time, and it was just one of those moments just to take the moment in and enjoy it.
And one thing I actually realized, and I actually put it in my phone as a reminder, was that Purdue is actually in Lafayette.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, which is amazing. I didn't even realize that. So I was like, oh, you're actually in, because you went to Purdue as well.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So, so Chuck, there's a lot of people who are watching, and a lot of them are men. A lot of them are going through a tough time, like you heard me talking about on the intro. And while they're going through this tough time, while they're experiencing this pain and this emotional wreckage, I think it's important that they know that you are relatable to them and that you've gone through similar experiences and have gone through similar feelings and emotions. So one question I want to ask you, Chuck, is this is based on the past, but I want to know, before coming into our program, just in the past, share with us a little bit about how you were feeling in the past.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks for having me on tonight. And I appreciate being here and going through some time to sit and reflect and talk to you a little bit about my feelings, how I've gone through some stuff, and how Alex and Secure has helped guide me through their program to come to the other side of things, per se. But the first, I guess would be the second thing I want to say about this is what you're feeling right now, going through a struggle, a relationship, breakup, separation, whatever it may be, you're not alone. Oftentimes when you go through this, you feel like you drop into a hole and you're by yourself. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. There are people out there that truly do care and want to help. And me finding this podcast, I'm sorry, podcast we're on tonight, but the program they use through Discovering Souls has helped me identify feelings from within myself from, not only present, but years back, and truly help me find who Chuck is. And just things I never even, I buried and, put away in onto a shelf that I never wanted to pull back. I ended up really working through those and really putting those to rest. And whether it be good or bad, you know, I really got to work on me. And I think oftentimes in life, we give ourselves as men to other people, whether it be our spouses, our families, our jobs, our careers, friends, whatever. We give of ourselves so much. We don't take time for ourselves and take time to reflect of what's going on in our life today, yesterday, tomorrow, whatever. I mean, we don't take enough time for that. And so that's one of the things that, I want to talk about later is, being grateful for who you are and where you're at in life. But to answer the question that was asked, since I'm, going down a different road, but what did I feel like in the past before coming into this program? I was living life just as it was a normal day. I mean, everything was normal. And, you go through things like, I'm normal. I mean, I feel good. Everything's good. And it's just how you feel sometimes. But then when your relationship takes a course of change through a struggle of anything, and where no one gets into a relationship with the idea, hey, let's go through a breakup or divorce or separation. No one thinks that. But when it happens, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And, I'm going to say, I'm sorry. I want to work things out and blah, 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 blah. But what created that to happen? And so, I mean, for me, I just I got myself down in a hole. I would talk to a couple people, but, until you can talk to somebody who has been there in their own past, and able to relate to you, a person that's never been through it has no idea, and they can't empathize at all. And, but the best thing I've ever learned was coming into this program and really learning to dig deep within myself. And we can talk more about that as your questions arise, Alex, of how and what. And I'll go into more deeper content as you ask.
That was amazing, Chuck, and I really appreciate what you shared with us. And you know, that's one of the things that we recognize when we work with men, not just you, but men across the country, is that these feelings are very similar across the board. Doesn't matter who we're talking to, but everyone always has the sort of same scope of feelings that they're dealing with, same type of emotions. The ones that you just mentioned were so important because, yeah, you experience them, but again, just like you said, and like I've been talking about, you're not alone. I'm not alone. Everyone else out there isn't alone either.
One of the things I want to sort of talk about is in society, especially for men, we're taught to be strong and mighty and, powerful, or at least, we used to be more than we are today. And men don't show emotion, and you're weak if you show emotion, or you're a weak, or you're a coward or anything like that if you cry. Well, you know what? I'll rather take being a weak and a coward to cry and work through what I'm struggling with and be able to work through it and be able to man up and find out who I am in life than to take ownership of what people may say in regards to that. Society has greatly stereotyped men in the wrong way, and we need to overcome that for our own self beings and for our own success in life.
And that's an amazing point that you just made, which would lead me to the next question is about how you're feeling right now. Um, like what's changed in you? How are you feeling right now? What's different about your life? What's different about how you show up? Not just for your family or your kids, not just for regular strangers, but also to your coworkers and to the employees and to other family or anyone. How do you think you're showing up for them? And then most importantly, how do you think you're showing up for yourself?
Well, I think it's important to show up for yourself first, and not in a selfish way, but in a real way. And one of the things, what I mean by that is being in a moment of being grateful. And that is what this program has taught me more than anything. I mean, we all tell our kids growing up, be thankful. What are you thankful for today? And that's great, but are we really resonating in our lives? And I mean, I really want to pause on that for a minute. Are we really grateful? And what this program has taught me is to write, and to write down 3 things daily that I'm thankful for. And why it's important to write is because not only are you putting your mind and your hand and your body and your thoughts on paper, but then you're rereading it as you write, and not typing, writing, because you reread as you're writing it, and it's resonating in who you are, what you're thankful for. And that attitude of gratefulness has changed my outlook on things a little bit. It does not mean you're not going to go through struggles. It does not mean that you're not going to have a bad day. It just means through the midst of it all, you can find things to be thankful for in the bad circumstance. I mean, it's sort of funny. The other day, it's funny in a way now, but I mean, I got too close to a curb and I blew 2 tires. I was laughing to myself because the old me would have said, I may have had a curse word and said, man, I blew 2 tires. But then that day I'm thinking, hey, you know what? I knew I needed 4 new tires. So guess what? I'm getting them today. I mean, that was my attitude. It was a completely different reflection of who I would have been, months ago. And I'm thankful that I can look at the different angles of things and not get upset. I mean, not only if you can choose, the key word there is choose, not to get upset about stuff and find the good and the bad, it's going to lower your blood pressure down. It's going to lower your anxiety levels down and all those different things. And you're going to, people are going to notice who you are. I mean, I've noticed in my staff that, I try to go out of my way to be more thankful to them and tell them what they're doing in a good way and that kind of stuff, or even in some harsh discussions that I have to have. I'm going with a kindness instead of a harshness. And, and I'm just choosing to look at things in a different way, on purpose, because if I do it, then it's going to resonate who I am.
Thank you. Amazing. I just want to go straight into the next question, because what you're sharing is, if I ask you any more questions about that, we could just go on forever, because what you're saying, there's so many different levels that we can go into. So one of the
Alex, actually, can I add a little more to that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, one of the things, okay, so if somebody's listening right now and they go, man, he may be falling off his rocker. I mean, really, I may sound that way right now, and it's okay. But you know what? It's taken one day at a time. If you have a hard time coming up with 3 things you're thankful for, that's okay. Write down 1. Because as you find 1, the next day you can find 2. And, it's okay to be where you're at today, because tomorrow's a new day. And I don't want it to make this sound like, oh, it's easy peasy here, and I'm, completely on this other side. And, it was easy. It's not. And it takes work, dedication, and soul searching to really find who you are and what you want to be.
Amazing. So I just want to ask the next question, because you're doing really well. How do you feel about the future?
Very optimistic.
Very
I'm very optimistic about the future. I mean, it's interesting, as I've done a lot of reflecting, and that's one of the key things as well, is reflecting in your gratefulness and writing about where you're at for the day. And even if the day is not a good day and you write down stuff that's not been great, but then what did you find that was good through it? And that's a thing that I've learned to do different. And your whole heart changes and your mind changes. And, to say, where do I see the future going? I'm very optimistic about the future. I'm optimistic heavily about my personal life, about my professional life, where, I see no boundaries where things can go. And I've had dreams that I've, kept to myself. And I shared them to Alex and Sakira and a little bit, and they totally expanded more on it. I was like, wow, you know what? Yes, I can do this. And you know what the dream is. And because I believe in myself, and whatever your dreams are is possible. I mean, you know, we tell our kids that all the time, you know, dream, think big. Well, why can't I think big at 40? You know, why can't I think big at 45 or 50? You don't have to stay stuck where you are for the rest of your life with what you're doing. Life is not supposed to be mundane and routine. Follow your goals and dreams, and that's what I'm trying to do.
And I just want to make a point that that is what you're doing. Okay, so I want to leave with a very impactful question, um, because you have a lot to share and you're opening your heart to other men out there. And for anyone who's watching, I want you to understand that the what Chuck is saying and the way he's being right now is so important because he's not holding back what's in his heart. He's speaking the truth. He's saying he's being honest. He's sharing the love that he has inside of him that is growing every day, and he's sharing it with each and every one of you because he knows that what you're going through is also very tough, again, because he's gone through it. So Chuck, what encouragement would you have for men that are going through a difficult emotional time, whether it's through a relationship or a heartbreak, divorce, or breakup? What encouragement would you give them?
The first thing I'm thinking of is, you know, I said this in the beginning. You're not alone. I mean, often, I mean, I would say most people when they go through that, you know, I can do this on my own, or you know, while I feel alone, or you know, or you're angry and you're bitter, and you know, you have no idea why things in life is happening, and you know, just everything is going in the toilet. Well, it's okay. I mean, really, I mean, I'm not saying it's okay to be that way, no, but what I'm saying is that there's more to life, and whether it be you work things out with that relationship or it doesn't, I mean, you need to find the inner you and who you are, because the inner you, when you find it, and I'm not saying this tongue in cheek, I'm being 100% honest. Once you find you, it makes everything else a lot easier to manage. And I mean, I think oftentimes, I mean, when you go through those situations, your confidence is destroyed, your self-esteem's worthless. I mean, you think, you know, I'm not worth anything. You know, everybody hates me. Um, you know, do my kids still love me? You know, any of that. Those are all true statements and how you feel at the moment. But you know what? And I don't mean to make this sound easy, because it's not. And you can get there, and you will get there if you want to. You can love yourself, and once you love yourself, and I'm not saying in an egotistical way and anything like that or overconfident. I mean in a realness. Once you truly love yourself and find out who you are, the love of your kids, you know, the love of all the stuff, they see who you are. And that's what people in life are gravitated to, is when you are kind and you know, they can see the genuineness in you. People gravitate to that. And that's my biggest encouragement is once you dig deep enough to find you and you get there and you attain it, then people will truly love and respect you, because you're not being somebody you're not. And that's would be my biggest advice is, I mean, you know, the one of the things that I really want to talk about as well is how do you get there? I mean, and I know Alex, you didn't ask that question, but I'll
That's
ask it
okay.
myself. How do you get there? It's time, it's patience, it's, you know, digging deep in your soul. You know, the program Alex and Sakira have, they ask a bunch of unique questions in their program on purpose, because it makes you think, and it makes you really dig deep in your heart and your soul. Is like, okay, you know, when did I experience this, or you know, when did this happen in my life, and you know, do I need forgiveness here? What bitterness are you hanging on to in life that you can't release, and why? I mean, that's a big question. Do I just want to control, and am I hanging on to it because I was right? Well, you know what? Does it matter if you're right? Because it has control of your life right now. So once you start working through some of these processes and start writing them down and really digging deep, then as you're grateful and as the process that you're going through, as you're seeing where you go, you overcome and you win. Then you win life. And not only do you win life at that point, but then you win it for your kids because you're teaching them a different way. And one of the greatest things I've learned is to speak life into things. And so, like for my kids, I speak life into them by saying, you know what, you're intelligent. You can do that. You are a great athlete, and you can overcome this. And speak into them, because you know what, there's more negative they hear than positive. And so, if they can hear it from you as dad or mom or whomever, then you win and they win.
Amazing, Chuck. I do have one more question before we start to sign off. And everything you're talking about working with us, and like what you're talking about is like this grand epiphany, and it sounds amazing. And you know what, you talked about patience and time, but I want to ask you one question, because it sounds like a lot of time that you put into this. How long have you been working with us for?
About 8 weeks.
Eight
Uh,
weeks
and I'm going to take that in a different way. That we need to put life in balance. And so, you need to get healthy in all areas, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Once you put all that into balance, then things start coming together in harmony. And I know some people may think I'm crazy as I'm speaking, but it's true. And, it really is. And, a little bit of time each day of writing what you're thankful for and listening to a video that is on their website and taking a little bit of time to reflect and write and dig in your soul, it's worth the time in the end. And it truly helps you overcome. And now I will be straight and say, is every day a bunch of, roses? No. And Alex and Secure are honest enough that, it's not. But you know what? You take the things you've learned already and you apply it towards those days that aren't so fun. And, you realize, you know what? Did I really think that way this many weeks ago on a bad day? And you're like, oh my gosh, I did. And then you realize, wow, I'm come a long way. And then that's the thing to be thankful for, where you are today versus where you were yesterday. So, but again, it took about 8 weeks, and then then you start finding, what, I enjoy doing stuff like this because I'm growing more and more.
That's an amazing point. And really appreciative that you went into that, because what you just shared with us is, yes, your journey about the past, the present, the future, and the encouragement you have. But you also were honest with us, and you talked about, the time and the patience that it took and the work that it takes and continues to take. But since you've come into our program, you have tools, strategies, different things that you have at your disposal that you're able to use in your daily life, so that when these challenging or situations or obstacles arise, you can deal with them much better than you used to deal with them in the past. That's what I'm getting from everything you're saying. And go ahead.
And I would agree with that. I mean, there's things that happen as you're going through the program, and you see the flags as they come up, as a daily situation occurs. It's like, okay, I'm choosing not to think that way now, and I'm going to think this way instead. And it's like, then you reflect on it a day later, and it's like, wow, I reacted totally different. And I mean, and what's even more fun is when you get on the Q&A calls and you talk about these days, and and when you hear Alex and Secure cheering for you, you realize how far you come.
It's making me like happy inside, so I'm starting to like get all choked up like on the inside. And I appreciate that, Chuck. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I appreciate you saying those nice things about us. Um, and like, in order for you to say those things, you have to work with us. You have to be with us. You have to understand us. You have to be willing to learn and change. You have to listen. You have to trust us. And as you've gone through this program, as we get to know each other more and more every day, you are opening up more and more. We are opening up more and more. And there's just like this chemistry that's really, really developing between us as we interact, as we connect, as we meet on these Q&A calls. And I think it's so important to your growth and to anyone else's growth who we help. And even you, if you're sitting out there and you're not working with us yet, just know that you don't have to continue sitting where you are. You don't have to continue sitting, feeling what you're feeling, the guilt, the shame, the anger, all of that. You don't have to continue feeling that way. That's why Sakiri and I do what we do. That's why we love what we do, because it's so important to know that there is an option for you. You don't have to continue living life in pain. If you want to release the past, if you want to release the present, then that's what we do. That's what we're here for. We want to connect with you with our hearts. That's why we do these type of things. That's why we have amazing people like Chuck come on to our Transformational Thursdays, because it's not about showcasing what we can do. It's about showcasing what happens when you deal with us. Look at Chuck. Look at everything he just said. Hands down, that can be you.
The one thing I like to close on my part is we all look at life as, money I got to spend for this or money I got to spend for that, and the gym membership because I need to stay healthy physically. Certain foods we buy to stay healthy. But what about being healthy for the mind and the heart? And I know that it may sound cheesy, and men maybe look like this. I'm strong. I can do this. Well, really? I'm being sarcastic in a way, but really, are you doing okay? Because you know what? Things are falling apart, and it's okay to be honest. I'm being honest. I would have gone through life and gone through the motions of everything just to get through. But you know what? What did it do? It created anxiety in me. It created me to look at other things to try to suppress things. Is that what you want? It's not what I wanted. I woke up to it and go, ooh, I don't want this anymore. And you know what? You have to invest in who you are to take yourself to the next level of life. And I chose to do that. And I know people out there that are struggling. You can do this. I know you can. I did it. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about Alex or Sakira. We're just ordinary people that have learned through our trials and mistakes and know how we can overcome things, and through time, patience, and dedication to ourselves.
You heard it there, folks. That was about that's pinpointed. Why am I even here? That's what I'm thinking. Why am I even here? So at the end of the day, we wanted Chuck to come on here because we wanted you to see for yourself what our program is about. We wanted you to see what can happen to you, what can happen to your life when you decide you want to change it. It starts with you. The only difference, our program works. The only difference between you sitting there not doing anything and Chuck is that Chuck just decided enough was enough. And if you're sitting there and you realize that enough is enough, that's why we have breakthrough calls that you can book with us, where you can spend 45 minutes to an hour with Sakiri or I, and you can talk about what's going on in your life. We'll figure out what's not working in your life right now and figure out what you want for the future. And we'll figure out how we can help you get there. because your future, the dream that you have of, that dream that you had as a kid, that dream you might have had a couple of years ago or 10 years ago, whatever, it's still there. It never went away. You don't have to suppress it. And on these breakthrough calls, that's exactly what we'll do. We'll get to the bottom of how you're feeling, and we'll help you to understand that there is an option out there, that you can create the love, the freedom, the peace, the joy, the fulfillment that you're looking for. Again, if you haven't done so already, the link below, Breakup Recovery for men.com/apply. You'll be able to book a breakthrough session. You'll get one of us to chat with on the phone. We'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll help you to break free of the feelings that you're feeling right now. Just know that we are here for you. We love you. We are here to support you. And at the end of the day, we are going to guide you to the life that you want. So thank you all for